this is Justin.
And Trinity.
And this is Dirt Time Adventures. Alright. Well, hey, we had a great time today. We shot Pathfinder Phase 1 Block 2 video and got the kids involved. If you didn't get a chance to watch that, be sure to get over there and watch that. It's going to be in the Pathfinder Phase 1 series under the playlist on our YouTube channel. And so be sure to watch that. We had a great time shooting that video. And we just finished that up, and I decided that I wanted to include another portion that would just take the video a little bit too long. So we're going to make a separate video, me and Trinity. Caleb got too cold, and so he weenied out on us and went inside, didn't he? But you're strong, right? And you're not cold. She actually wants to get our rabbits out, and so she's hanging out hoping we can play with the rabbits when we get done here.
One rabbit, just one rabbit.
You just want to play with one of them, huh? You want to play with which one? Rose? She wants to play with Rose. That's her bunny, her little rabbit, Rose.
What about that other one?
Yeah, we'll see about playing with them in a second. But before we finish up the day, I wanted to go over base camp and understanding what you should consider when choosing a base camp. And so we moved the lean-to over to our actual area, and this is my base camp here. You want to hop up and we'll show them a look around. And so this is base camp here. I'm actually got it set up right now between these two trees, but as you can tell, it's pretty narrow. I'm thinking about moving it between that tree and that tree. It's going to be a lot wider space, but I think it'll be more effective. And then I've also considered going between this tree here and that tree there and moving this little one completely out. And so as I come look around, once again we have the dense woods around me and Highway 62 off here to the north. Whatty? Yeah, you got little mushrooms on your stick, huh? But one of the things, the contributing factors about this area that I really liked was these 4 trees right here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I really want to build a bushcraft table there, or some type of camp table. And so put my fire pit out here in the middle. We have a lot of clearing to do. We actually had to remove a bunch of poison ivy. I removed it once and the crud just kept growing back. And so what I want to cover today on this video, this separate little mini video, is understanding what elements and what things you need to consider when choosing a shelter or when choosing a campsite. And I call it the 5 W's. I think the Boy Scouts taught me 4 of them, and then I just adapted 1 on my own. And those are things that you always need to consider. And let's just go over them real quick. The first one is water. Making sure that there's water in close proximity for drinking, but also understanding that you're not in a flood zone where the water is going to rise up into your base camp. I'm actually on an elevated peak here, and it drops down there. And there's actually a little a shoal, depression right behind me on this high point as water comes down off the hill that should go around me. And that's what I'm hoping anyways. And so also with water, you need to consider wood. There is tons of wood, dead trees around me. But not only should you have wood for construction and fire material, you also need to understand wood in the aspect of the third one, and that's widowmakers. Because there's a lot of dead down trees around me, it's important that I'm not in an area with a lot of dead trees that could fall on me. And the great thing is, because all the trees that are down are dead, all the ones that are still up look alive and healthy. And so we got plenty of wood to work with. The 4th W is wind and weather. They kind of go together. Making sure that you are understanding which direction the wind's coming from, which where the prevailing wind's coming from, but also the weather is, if you're on a high peak and the weather and storming's bad, then you need to get down. You need to get into a lower elevation, somewhere away from the bad weather. And so be sure to consider weather as well, and the wind, which way the prevailing wind's coming. Because if you have wind coming right into your shelter, you're going to be cold all night long. You want the wind to your back, or at least off to one of your sides. And so the wind. And then the fifth W that most people don't consider and talk about is the wildlife. Know where the wildlife is. You don't want to be set up on a game trail, if at all possible. You don't want to be setting up in a cave that might have a bear in it, of course, or a foxhole, fox den. That's a little shallower type cave. And so understand the wildlife. You don't want to set up on simple as underneath beside a termite mound, or under a wasp nest, or on an ant hill, especially fire ants, because them suckers will light you up. And so understand the 5 W's when choosing your base camp. Something that's not a W that you also need to consider, and something that I had to think long and hard about, was the sun. And
the turtle.
Well, the turtle gave me confidence we were in the right spot. But the sun, understanding that it travels, because I live in the northern hemisphere, the sun travels in the southern hemisphere, and you need to consider when you set up camp where that is into correlation to your shelter. And so what do you think about the outdoors, sister? Good. Did you have fun today? Tell the camera what your favorite part was. Tell everybody that was going to be watching the video. Tell them what your favorite part of today was.
That we got to do 2 videos.
That we got to shoot 2 videos. Awesome. So you like being on YouTube? Uh-huh. And so guys, once again, I know throwing you for a loop here with 2 videos shot in the same day. But I really wanted to make sure that you guys got the 5 W's. Once again, water, wood, wind and weather, widowmakers, and wildlife. Consider those 5 W's when choosing your base camp. And once again, like I said, there's no widowmakers. I got water within a couple 100 yards to Bob Kidd Lake. I got the wind is going to be off to my side. I'd like to get it to my back, but then that's going to put me exposed to the oak grove, and I wanted to be protected by the forest, which is right in front of me. You get stuck. Got you a stick there. Now wildlife, there's game trails way off in the distance, so I'm off away from the game trails. And wood, there's plenty of it around to burn and build shelter. So you're not going to break that stick. We're going to have to get a saw and chop it off.
Get your knife out.
We're not going to take my knife to it. You silly goose.
I want that stick off.
You want that stick off?
Yes.
Yes. We'll have to get the saw out and cut it off, okay? Well guys, this is Justin with Dirt Time Adventures. Be sure to subscribe, share my videos, and be sure to take a kiddo into the outdoors.
Leaves are turning, there's a chill in the air. Campfires are burning, we're gathered round in chairs.